Hi teachers, in this video we're going to take a look at HMH's. In this video we are going to dive into another one of HMH's assessment options, specifically the screening, diagnostic, and progress monitoring options that are available. Now when you first start navigating this whole collection of assessments, it can get a little confusing just with the way that the various parts are chunked within the program, but once you have all of the necessary pieces run, I'm sure you'll be able to find what you need. So first, to get there, we started with going to HMH, Discover, HMH Resources, All Resources, and then selecting Assessment. And underneath the component feature, we are going to select the printable screening, diagnostic, and progress monitoring assessments. Now, before using any of these, there are 4 different documents at the very top of this section that you are going to probably want to review and print ahead of time. These will give the directions for how the assessments work, as well as recording forms that you'll need along the way. I'm going to first take a look at the introduction document. So this is that very first document. It gives me a table of contents, although I'm not going to find all of these pages within this one document. Some of these pages are within other documents. So you can see that I've got different screening assessments, different diagnostic assessments, and then progress monitoring assessments as well. As I scroll down further, I can see that I've got summary recording forms, and then there's even more detail on the different assessments available. Now, as I look at these numbers will indicate what page in the assessment I'll need to go to, and the page numbers will always be in the bottom center down here so that you can locate those pages on where those assessments start. So reviewing this just helps me better understand all the different options and what is available. Keep in mind at grades K through 3, our primary source of foundational skills instruction is happening through Foundations. And I know as well, we do the MAP and the Ames web test that can provide us lots of data. So this would just be another option for a teacher to explore after using all of those pieces that we already do in the classroom. So the next thing that I went to is administering and scoring the assessments. This is really important because as you look at the different assessment pages, you're going to notice that there's no directions on those pages. So this is going to walk you through how you go about administering each of these assessments. Printing this whole document will help you make sense of all of those pieces and understand what it is you're looking for and scoring. Also, it will provide teacher directions in certain cases, specifically what you're going to be saying to students or asking students to do. I've then run the summary recording forms. I skipped over for a moment the recommendations for data-driven instruction. That typically comes after. So that's where you're looking at the scores that you get and then referring to this because it's going to give you some recommendations. These summary recording forms, here they are. They are where you're going to record what students have done. So they give you forms to track. You can see the goal scores, and then you can decide if you're going to move ahead or if there's reteaching needed. And you're going to see these session numbers referenced a lot as well. And I'm going to talk about those and how they relate to the foundational skills and word study studio, and where you can find all of those skills to kind of understand how that might match up with Foundations if you're at the grades K through 3 level. So now you'll notice that my assessments kind of are available in 3 different chunks. All of the screening assessments are in one file right here. All of the diagnostic assessments are in another file. And then if you want to jump into using the assessments for progress monitoring, you'll notice that I have multiple files for progress monitoring because there's so many pages in a file. If I go into one of those progress monitoring, you can see right here, I don't see any directions. So that's why I want to review those documents in the very beginning so I know exactly what to do with these various boxes. And then I want to make sure that I get that form that allows me to record so that I can see what students are doing and what I'm looking for within each of those assessments. You'll also notice at the bottom in the middle, we have the page number. So that's the page number that ties back to the page numbers referenced in the very first introduction document. And then we also have in the top right-hand corner of each of the progress monitoring assessments, session numbers. Now, this is where my head gets a little wrapped up in how I'm bringing all this together and how I'm using this with foundations. So these session numbers reference the foundational skills in Word Study Studio. So I'm going to show you how to get there. We're going to go discover HMH resources, all resources, not assessment. I just clicked on assessment. We're going to go to foundational skills. And then underneath foundational skills, we're going to click the component feature and open the foundational skills in Word Study Studio. I'm going to start with the table of contents. That table of contents is going to give me a list of all of the different sessions within that foundational skills and Word Study Studio. So I can see here that, for example, session 21 is the letter names of Q. As I scroll down, I start to notice more skills or high frequency words. So I can use this kind of as a reference point to tie back to foundations or think about what things I might be looking for within these particular sessions. So this is a nice reference chart for me so that I can see when I look at, okay, this is sessions 121 through 125. So I'm going to go back and take a look at 121 through 125. And I can see right here that I'm reviewing some of my high frequency words, some phonological awareness with producing rhyming, some review of phonics, consonants, more high frequency words. So I can see that I've got some decodable words here, high frequency, and then my reading sentences tying into some of those skills. The actual lessons for the foundational skills in Word Study Studio can be found as we start to go down here, and you can see each of the sessions has a number. So there's a lot of sessions. There's your instructional routines and other resources. The other thing that kind of helps me wrap my head around where all this stuff is located and how I might pull little snippets from Into Reading to further add to what I'm already doing in Foundations is I can find my Into Reading alignment chart. Pull this up and I can see here the session number and the particular skills that go with that session number in the foundational skills in Word Study Studio. So this gives me that breakdown week by week if I'm looking at pulling different snippets from the foundational skills options within Into Reading. I would suggest printing several of these reference documents so you can kind of lay everything out in front of you. This is a little bit harder to wrap your head around with the way that everything works together. But I think if you start with just simply finding things that will be useful to you, what you're already teaching students with foundational skills, things that make that tie back to the specific skills you're learning in Foundations, you might find some tidbits that will be purposeful for you.